afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Firstly, even though Sylvia has sort of welcomed you, I'd like to welcome you on behalf of Doris and I, or Doris and me, whatever the correct English is, to Highland Park. We're pleased that we can share our country retreat with all of you, and particularly on this occasion when the Kong family and so many of our mutual friends have travelled here from Israel, from Melbourne, and from New Zealand and from London. It's great to renew those lifelong bonds of friendship and the memories of so many happy times in the past. And this occasion today, Bob, on your 70th birthday is another one of those happy times. Now, when we suggested to Sylvia that she might like to organise her party for Robert at Highland Park, we mistakenly thought that only a handful of people would bother to make the journey. But I can say with some authority that not since Moses directed us through the Red Sea has it required yeshiva-trained traffic attendants to manage the parking lot. And that leads me to conclude that our friend Robert is riding pretty high in the popularity polls. Now, I would like to explore why Robert is the lovable fellow that he is. Robert, you've got your back to me. And why it is that we all want to celebrate this milestone with him. I know that on Sylvia's part, she's thrilled that he's finally turned 70, because she found 69 absolutely exhausting. Now, for the rest of us, we all have different reasons for wanting to mark the coming of his 70 years and 10. We could all guarantee a slowdown of our ageing process if we had to make it work its way through a bill in Parliament. But as the years have advanced, our Robert has become more and more of a sportsman. He's always trekking, drekking, playing tennis and golf, walking, twisting, bending, stretching, muscles here, muscles there, huffing, puffing, puffing, and every other. Now, with all that adrenaline, you really have to question whether the guy is Jewish. But let me say that being Jewish is an integral part of Robert's life. For example, a few months ago, he asked the rabbi if it was okay to use a caffeine suppository on Yom Kippur because of his addiction to coffee. Now, the rabbi did rule that it was kosher, so off Robert went to the pharmacy to buy 150 caffeine suppositories. Why do you need so many, asked the pharmacist, to which Robert replied, because I'm sponsoring the Kiddush. So being Jewish also drives his desire to do charitable work. He does Meals on Wheels. He's an over-enthusiastic collector of household effects for the B'nai B'rith Bargain Bazaar. And he's one of J&F's, mind you, Robbie, you put all the stuff in the garage. It's something that I'm not that keen on. But anyway, he's one of J&F's better blue box collectors because he schmoozes with everyone he comes in contact with. But his charitable work doesn't stop there. Just the other day, the Red Cross rang on his doorbell and asked if he could contribute to the floods in Lebanon. And he said he'd love to do that, but his hose wasn't long enough. So, there is more to Robert's life than that. In case you haven't noticed, he has an engaging personality. Now he's hiding behind the pole. Who else would sidle up to an attractive young lady, a complete stranger, walking her dog on the Rose Bay Promenade, and start a conversation about whether she was on heat? Who else would go to the bridge club to practice his sleep? Who else loves walking in the bush because there's no such thing as a 5-star accommodation there? Now, whether it's trekking with just one friend or with a group of others, he loves the mud, the scratches, the blisters, and the pleasurable sensation of mosquito bites. And he has really found himself in those bush toilets. And I've got to say, he's probably left a lot of himself there as well. And then there's his obsession with tennis. He was down at the Maccabi Club the other day, and he decided to walk home. He put a tennis ball into the pocket of his shorts and started the 5-kilometre walk along New South Head Road. While he was at a pedestrian crossing, waiting for the lights to change, a girl standing next to him pointed to the large bulge in his shorts and asked, "What's that?" "Tennis ball," he replied. "Oh my gosh," said the girl, "that must be very painful. I had tennis elbow once." Now, that's really crystal. Those who have observed the Con household for as long as I have would describe it as a household in which indecision is the key to flexibility. So theirs is a modest and unassuming home guided by Jewish values and tinged with a sort of cosmopolitan and eclectic melting pot of novel concepts and ideas. And I've got to say that I'm a qualified observer of some of these concepts. For example, there's the travel concept. Sylvia was once away on her own, as she usually is, and rang home. Robert, she said, New York is fantastic. I feel like a new woman. To which Robert said, I feel like a new woman too. Why don't you stay another week? And then there's the domestic concept. For example, the other night, Sylvia asked him what was on the TV and he answered, dust. Mind you, if the TV happens to be on, Robert will fall asleep in front of it. Last Sunday night, it took him 2 hours to watch 60 Minutes. And that program was on same-sex marriage. And he said he couldn't understand what all the fuss was about because he's been having the same sex for 40 years. And finally, there's what I call the connoisseur concept. That's a tongue-tie, connoisseur concept. The producers of the red wine Pinot Noir are about to market a new wine especially for older male drinkers like Robert, and it's going to be called Pinot More. Now, our friend Robert is actually the master of two households, one in Sydney and one in Jerusalem. On his last visit to Jerusalem, he arrived at his apartment and cleared the mailbox, which was filled with all sorts of junk mail accumulated over a couple of months. There was one particular item that caught his eye because it said he would be able to have sex at 75. I was pretty happy about it, he said. I live at Unit 18, so it won't take me long to get home afterwards. Now, friends, I do have to say that I've enjoyed poking a bit of fun at Robert. But there is a more serious note. And I want to conclude by saying that celebrations like this are not celebrations unless you can share them with people who you care about. Between all of us here, we represent families and friends and friendships that have endured both the test of time and those that have developed more recently. Together, we are the fibres which the fabric of Robert's 70 years of the fabric which Robert's 70 years of life have been woven. When I look around the gathering here, I see diversity. I see representatives of the pre-war generation, and I reflect on Rob and Barry's parents, who I knew very well. I see Robert's own generation, made up of a variety of groups and subgroups, and they together represent every element of Robert's life. And I see all the younger members of Robert's family represented in one place at one time, and how wonderful that is for him. I think Sylvia said to me the other day, this week in the Con family, there were birthdays marking 7 years, 35 years and 70 years. So, we're here sitting on a hilltop in Yarramalong, celebrating the birthday of a remarkably fit and active septuagenarian, Robbie, septuagenarian. A bloke that in his own unique way can be satisfied that he's lived his life in all of its phases and with all of its trials and tribulations, and in a way that has made him stand tall in the eyes of all his family and his friends. And he has their good wishes and all their love and their respect. So when you analyse it, what else is there to life when you have all the riches in the world right in front of you? So Robert, Robbie, Bob, as you used to be in New Zealand before you became posh in Australia, let us just simply say that on behalf of us all, we wish you well. I hope many more birthdays will come and many more birthdays will go, but just stay as you are forever. Thank you.